All right, well, I did promise you I'd have a video talking about our indicators. Now normally we'd have this big lab set up, it would take a couple days, but I'm gonna do the best I can to at least show you what it would look like. So we've got 5 different liquids here, liquid substances, that are either acid, base, or neutral. Over here we've got a strong acid, we've got a weaker acid with vinegar, we've got water, which is serving as our neutral, it's pretty close to a pH of 7. Ammonia, which is a base, and then sodium hydroxide, which is a very strong base. That's the kind of stuff they'd use in drain cleaner or oven cleaner. Very, very strong base. Now, we already took some pictures and talked about phenolphthalein. So hopefully you remember phenolphthalein would turn bases pink. So if we added phenolphthalein to these 5, we'd expect those 2 to become pink and no change here. We talked about red and blue litmus paper, which would tell you if it's an acid or a base. I already told you that. And then we looked at pH paper. One indicator we didn't look at is red cabbage juice. Now, some of you guys saw me making this when we did our class hangout on Friday a couple weeks ago. And this stuff is an indicator we can add to the substance and it's going to change the color. This is real fresh, so it should make a pretty good color changes. Let's just go through in order and see what happens when I add this to the hydrochloric acid, and then our vinegar, our neutral water, our ammonia, which is a base, and then our very strong base, the sodium hydroxide. And so all the way through, we can see that we're getting different colors. In general, this indicator is going to turn things redder if it's an acid and more to the green side if it's a base. Now, it's not as accurate as pH paper, which is why we use the pH paper to get exact numbers. There's another thing we could do to figure out the physical property of acid or base, which is use what's called a pH meter, basically a stick that we place into each one, and it would tell us the pH with a very high level of precision. But for now, I wanted to introduce you to this indicator. You get a sense for how it works. You can also see how sodium hydroxide is now turning a bit yellow. Very, very strong bases will give a yellow sign with this. We're going to see the red cabbage juice again in a couple more demonstrations, so I wanted you to see what it looks like. Thanks for staying with me.